All right, we are here to make our own sounds. One of my favorite sounds is the rustling of the wind in the trees, like I was saying earlier. I have also been to the ocean one time, and oh, that sound is so relaxing. It never stops, but it's always changing. I brought some things here today so we can make our own ocean drum. Ocean drum, I hear, was actually invented in Nepal, which is up in the Himalaya mountains, far from any ocean, but just there to make a watery sound. Very healing sound. Water is important for every living being on the planet. So today we have two things. We have a container and we have filler, small objects that will roll around inside the container to create the sound of ocean waves. There's all sorts of things you could use for your container. I brought a bucket from ice cream. I bought a Tupperware container, and I brought, this came from the dollar store. I thought maybe it was for changing your oil, but it's a big pan. And we're just gonna try some different things. The great thing about this activity is you can make the ocean drum sound the way you want. You don't have to follow anything. You can experiment till it sounds right to you. So we've got our containers, and then our filler. I just brought some beads from my house, little pony beads, some just different craft beads. There's some sequins. If you don't have beads, you can use beans. Dry pinto beans work great. They roll around nicely. Maybe you're going to be boiling beans for dinner, and you can just say, hey, before we do that, can I try experimenting? And hopefully they'll say, sure, go ahead. You can say, I'll help. I'll pick out the little rocks. But you got to do it before you rinse off the beans, because they're not going to roll around if they're wet. I also had a little container that had some BBs, and the factory-made ocean drums, I think they use something like that, ball bearings or BBs. But we're going to try with beans today. So first, let's try the ice cream pail, and I'm going to put just a handful in. I've got about a cup and a half, and I don't know what the amount's going to be, but let's hear it fall in. Sounds like popcorn. You can see here probably through the bottom, you can see just a little bit of that. Let's get one more handful. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to roll with my wrists, an even motion so the beans roll around the outside, or the beads. Beads or beans. So let's see what happens. Not bad. There's a constant sound, but sometimes there's a wave, like an extra large wave that comes crashing, and maybe instead of rolling that time, you kind of shift suddenly, so you'll hear a bigger sound. Let's try more beads. Woo! I bet if you look under, you can see it's almost completely covered. Nice. I'm going to try it with this other container. The ocean drums I've seen are kind of shallow. Maybe the sound will change differently when I put it in this larger container that is shallow. Sounds like, oh, and all the sequins. See what happens. All right, this one actually has sort of a ribbed bottom to it. I think it's so things can dry, cookies can be there, or maybe it's for putting bacon on, I don't know. Let's try it in this smooth, big container. Wow, I really like the sound of the big container. So the largest container you can get, kind of shallow so the sound can get out, but if it's too shallow, the beads might get out. So just play with it. For younger kids who are going to try this, I suggest that you have a towel spread across your table. That way if the beans fall out, they're not going to go rolling. They'll stay right there with you. Experiment, see what you can find. I've tried this before with salt. Salt makes a really cool sound, but the salt particles are so small. It's very different. Not quite like an ocean, but it's soothing nonetheless. All right, should I try it with the BBs? I think I should. All right, let's try them in this bucket. These are BBs or ball bearings. They're heavier. So heavier things will probably make a different sound. Wow. Neat. So look around your house. What do you need? Again, those two things, a container and a filler. I wonder what you're going to come up with. I wonder what would happen if you tried it with a square container. Why don't you see and see what happens? All right. Again, I have been Emily Flathers from Osborne, and I'm so glad to have had this chance to share creating sounds, exploring sounds with you. Hope you have a great day and keep learning. Bye.